+2, the snow temperature -2, Mike.
It's not a difficult day. It's in fact very similar to yesterday in the men's race. And the fluorocarbon waxes, the technicians are putting those expensive powders on, heating them into a very high temperature into the base of the ski, 140 degrees, the heat of the iron, and they really repel any friction, any water.
So Elizabeth Stephen is now banking on the fact that her skis are going to be good enough for the next 8.3 kilometers.
It's a tough one to do, and then maybe psychologically, when she's at her most fatigued, she's going to give herself that little psychological boost, maybe next time round for the final 8 kilometers.
So Therese, who had an advantage over Justina at one point of about 43 seconds, now finds herself 24 seconds ahead of Stephen and Styra and Fessel, and also FIS.World and Gushina of Russia, 50 seconds off the pace, because she was one of those who went in to change. And like Ishida changed, and Zella and Agraita and Justina. There is Justina, and she's chasing Chekaleva on the left there. Russia, who had a great day. And Alexander Legkov, worth reflecting, I think, Mike, about this. And he said yesterday, I feel great. This, for me, a big victory after not-so-good World Championships. My plan was to control the pace and to save some energy for the final lap and attack in the stadium. It worked perfectly. I had great skis. I'm happy to be in the World Cup lead, but there are still 4 competitions to go. Petter, as well as Dario, have been in great shape, and it'll be really difficult to keep the yellow bib. And just to underline that fact, because as a result of yesterday, Legkov gained not only the 100 points for the win, but 67 bonus points, and now leads the overall World Cup 12 points ahead of Petter Northug, only 15 ahead of Dario Colonia, and Polteranin, who didn't get involved yesterday, 282 points behind. And I was delighted for him. And just, Mike, before you add your thoughts to this, Legkov now leading Colonia by 150 points in the Crystal Globe chase for the distance globe, and he's 207 ahead of Petter Northug in 3rd place, and 254 ahead of Polteranin. And there are only 2 distance races in the Falun finale left for the distance. So if he doesn't hold on to the lead in the overall World Cup race, Legkov has a real chance of actually taking the distance globe.
He's brought himself, and in the overall, as you say, he's brought himself right back into the picture. And I think that Dario Colonia, well, Petter Northug and Colonia were just watching each other, and I think that they missed the fact that Legkov all the time was picking up so many of these extra points by always being in the top 5.
Northug, of course, was only 6th, and you were a little concerned from what we saw of his liquid intake.
2 hours and what was it, 6-7 minutes for the men, and over that distance, over the terrain, the men nearly climbed over 2,000 meters in total climb. The body becomes exhausted, and if you don't replenish, if you don't take on 200 mils 3 times within the hour, then you really do become dehydrated. I'm not saying he did, but we on a number of times saw him just taking one mouthful of fluid, throwing the bottle away, and he really did hit the wall in the last quarter of his race.
And look at this picture. This is what we've known from Teresa Johaug all the time. Leading the chase here, Elizabeth Stephen, and Styra there behind, Barbara Picon, Nicole Fessel getting a little detached now. They're in Indian file, and that's because Stephen is really pressing on here and looking absolutely to get a personal best in this distance race here, but a lot of work to do now. She was 24 seconds down. We're going to check pretty soon now. There's Justina, and Justina may well accept this situation now, because she's also got to look at the bigger picture, which is Stockholm and Falun.
And another tough race for Justina Kowalczyk. I felt earlier when she did go with the Therese Johaug's pace, Heidi Weng was there originally as well. It was an incredible pace, and then Justina went to the front to lead it, allowing Johaug to rest up just for 3 minutes, and then Therese put this major attack on. and she's been at the front since.
And of course she's working her way up to the high point at the moment now. And here's an observation from the man who finished second yesterday, Martin Jonsrud Sundby, who I know you picked early on with fresh legs and did himself proud. He says after the race, he said, I can see my house from the highest point of the course at Rognersetten. I'm training on these courses all the time, and it's always special to compete in Holmenkollen. I had hope for the victory, and I wanted to be in front on Helnerbacken. My mind wanted to attack, but my body didn't respond. I had cramps going from my little thumb to my foot. I thought I'd fall back to 5th place. In the end, I took 2nd place, and I'm really happy. And Ilya Chernusov, who was 3rd yesterday, he said, no race on Holmenkollen is a piece of cake, and today was no exception. My 2nd pair of skis were not that fast, and I was struggling to keep in touch with the guys. I'm happy it was Alexander and myself on the podium today. I had a good season with a bad World Championship, so today's 3rd place is really satisfying.
It's interesting, isn't it? And interesting the comments from Sundby, who came 2nd with the Helnerbacken. That's the final climb before the stadium area. And the brain was saying yes, the body was saying no, but he did well, suffering cramp like that.
Half distance, you can see Stephen there, 48 seconds down. When they left the stadium, Mike, it was what, 24 seconds?
It was 24, so Teresa's doubled that, knocked another 24 seconds out of them.
And there's Justina, 64 seconds, and just not being able to live with what Therese is doing here. And if you remember 2 years ago when she won the world title over 30 kilometers, I mean, the whole stadium just rose to her because she wiped out not only Justina but also Marit, and then ended up in the arms of the King and Queen of Norway.
And she won, I think she won by 45 seconds on that day, and Justina Kowalczyk was 3rd, about a minute and a half behind.
So she in a way became the daughter of the country at that time.
Yeah, very, very much. Totally respected her ability to push this hard.
Steven, Styra, Barbara Piquant, Nicole Fessel, just the pace isn't there. You know, is it Therese who's doing the damage, or is it just that these guys can't go the pace? And here we go, another 15-point opportunity coming up here. And this is, you know, making life really easy. The bonus points came at 2.7, 8 and 16.3, which is where she is now, and she's got one more opportunity. So if she does it in the next time, and who's to say that she won't, then that's going to be 60 bonus points for Teresa Johaug. Now, having a go here, Styra. Styra, who, for my money, Mike, has had a really average season. She's not really ever got going, and again another 4th place in the World Championships.
Another 4th place. I was just looking at that earlier. I was thinking, I hope that Styra, and I'm sure she will, she says she will try to make the Olympics in Sochi. And from 6 individual starts, I know she's won medals in the relay, gold medals, but her individual races at the Olympics, from 6 of them, she's had 4 times 4th position. I would love for her to be able next year to win individual medals at the Olympics.
She's pushing on here, and I think it's because there's a realization that Elizabeth Stephen can't lead out the whole way there. Stephen doing a great job for the USA, and it's been a triumph for the Nordic division of American sport this season, the way that their athletes have done so well. And you can see Justina there losing even more time in that group. Elizabeth Stephen from Montpellier in Vermont, 26 years of age, and in the World Championships, 5th in the 10-kilometer freestyle race. That was a really good performance by her. 20th in the skiathlon was not bad at all. And remembering that she was 8th in Sochi in the double pursuit before the World Championships, that dress rehearsal race. So I think that at the moment, you know, she's looking here to try and get a 2nd runners-up spot if she can. I don't think she's going to win this the way that Teresa's going, but she was 2nd in that 9-kilometer freestyle pursuit section of the Tour de Ski. but this would be a much more valuable second place if at the end of the race she's strong enough to regain second spot from Styro, who has it at this particular moment.
I heard the coach there shouting 50 fem, so I assume that's, well, it is 55 seconds that she has ahead of the pack, and that's got to be an amazing feeling at this stage, just over half distance.
Well, this is now a mental game as well as a physical game, because you've got to keep driving yourself. Yes, you get bits of encouragement from the coach, but now this is really all about yourself. What's going on in your head? How do you focus? How do you break the race up? She's not thinking about getting to the 30-kilometer point. She's got points along the route that she's going to from one section to another section. And
just a super hard work ethic. She's just totally being brutal on herself. Keep the tempo going. 55 seconds, so 55, it's not changing, but there again, this is an easy part of the track. It's not going to change much. But so yes, brutally just telling herself, I've got to keep this going, got to keep my work rate going. And I just hope she takes on board at the drink stops enough fluid to carry her through this race.
And encouraging that Anouk Fabre-Picon, who's in that chasing group there from Pontarlier, and at 27 years of age, and potentially in line for her best ever World Cup results. So that is something also that she's now got in her head. I'm here, I'm a long way away, like we all are from Teresa, but I'm very much fighting for second best. But you can see what's happening here. There's a group here being led by Elizabeth Stephen, but they're being closed on by Justina, who's now seemed to have, along with Heidi Weng, to have regained their focus.
Maybe that aggressive start, it did seem to knock Heidi Weng, because the intensity, Therese, she's holding the same intensity, and Weng tried to go with her, Justina tried to go with her, they've dropped back, but now they're beginning to come back into the race, I think. 18.3 kilometers.
Literally thousands of Norwegian flags being waved in appreciation of this young woman. And Therese, she is amazing. She's only 24 years of age.